Welcome to Small Talk with RainKraft. I'm Subha, a leadership and executive coach.
And I'm Hasita, a marketing strategist.
We're just two people who love to talk
and love to learn.
And this is us being curious about the world around us.
Join us.
You know, Hasita, I went back to an old workplace last week, and of all the things I saw and everything that's changed, one image is still just sitting in my brain, and that is of how the same person who almost 10 years ago, and she's still around, who almost 10 years ago used to cut the cake, the team birthday cake into 20 little pieces, is still cutting the team birthday cake into 20 little pieces, though she's in a completely different role, more senior, is, I think, managing the team now. Just that image is stuck in my brain.
And she's still cutting the poor cake. Or the poor her, I don't know. No, I empathize with that so deeply. So when we were interns, way back when, seems like another lifetime ago, there's this general expectation that all interns are lowly creatures and therefore must be made to do all the things that the more important people don't have time for. And I had a co-intern at that time in my department who brought coffee for every single person every single time that they asked. So it wasn't just a morning coffee ritual. It was that every time someone said, my coffee's gotten cold, or, oh, where's my coffee? And I know it's such a pop culture joke, but I've actually seen it happening, wherein every time someone uttered the word coffee, she would just run downstairs, get the coffee and run upstairs again to the 5th floor. And she did that for 3 months straight. So I do understand. I think it just, I'm just thinking like, who asked this person to cut the cake, or who asked my co-intern to really bring the coffee, right? Like, I think just the first time someone shouted coffee, they did it, and then they kind of just got stuck in the loop of coffee bringing.
I think let's talk about that a bit today. I think we get stuck in these patterns because we've said yes to them and we've chosen to play these roles when we should have really said no a long time ago. And I think there are a lot of times when we just need to know how to say no.
Yeah. And in fact, the coffee and the cake being the slightly more outlier examples, I would say, but the fact is, I think so many of us sign up for things that we didn't mean to sign up for at all. In fact, just last week, I know we had a conversation wherein a certain call time period that was being spent for a client was causing me a lot of anguish because it had not been scoped for. I really don't mind doing it. It's just that I need to get paid for it because I have a business to run. So how did I really get stuck in things like that, right? So I think the inability to say no, first of all, is quite universal because I have seen people that I consider to be much more senior than I am not being able to do it. I've seen my juniors not being able to do it with me, and I'm sure you have as well. So where is the systemic inability to say no coming from at the workplace?
No, so true. I think fundamentally when you think of the workplace, everybody wants to be their best self. They want to put their best foot forward. They, largely truly want to do what's good for the organization and for the team, right? So you end up signing up for things that are not your cup of tea, not your area of expertise. And I think it's okay to a point when, especially if you're in the learning curve and it makes sense for you to be part of a new project, or you genuinely do want to be in that cultural committee or sport organizing group or whatever that may be because you enjoy it, right? I think the problem starts when, one, you're signing up for things that you are not interested in, right? Mm-hmm. Feeling the pressure that, hey, maybe now that I am in this role, I can't say no, or I'm expected to do this, etc. Right? So one is just fundamentally signing up for too many things. The second place where we need to say no more often is when, like you said, those little add-ons to the work, right? Work creep. I signed you up as a client and we were supposed to maybe give you, 2 articles a week. But for that, now you're saying I have to attend your morning huddles every day.
Yeah.
Right? Now that just doesn't make sense, and that's pure work creep. But they're trying to convince you, saying, hey, but unless you're part of us and unless you hear what we do, how can you write this for us? And then you don't know. I mean, it's true, actually. The input from those meetings would help. But how do you say no to it? And how do you say, hey, this isn't scoped for, or this isn't part of the plan, and we need to relook at our engagement. Even at a normal workplace, right? Even when it's not a kind of a vendor relationship, even to your team members, to peers, to your manager, how do you say no to work creep is the second bucket, if I could call it.
Yeah. In fact, one of the most extreme things that I've been prone to do, guilty as charged multiple times earlier in my work life, was to just ghost. That was my extreme way of saying no. Because I do remember having a client when I was a content person only. At that time, I was writing maybe 2 blogs for them every month. And like you said, they wanted me to be part of their workplace meetings, and they met once a week, I think. And they wanted me to show up as well and just bond with the team, and all of that was fair enough. But then I realized that something was wrong when I was made to sit in a meeting where a health insurance company, a corporate health insurance company, was pitching why their health insurance was best for this company's employees. And I sat there for an hour because I just couldn't figure out, first of all, whether I was needed there or not. And secondly, when I did figure out that I was not needed, I didn't know how to just get up and leave. And finally, I said, hey, you know what? I need to go. And the founder, I kid you not, and I quote, the founder said, but I thought you wanted to be part of this. That's why you're here. And I ghosted after that. So what I'm trying to say is there a healthier way to do these things before we all crack?
Yeah, I really think ghosting is an extreme solution to the problem, and it won't take you very far, or rather it will take you very far because you're just running away from one thing after the other.
Yeah.
But, there are techniques to help you say no. It takes effort. It's not easy. I think all of us have a default yes mode mostly. Right?
Yeah.
Which is why those colleagues who, the minute you kind of even stand near them, we've all seen them, the minute you stand near them and try and suggest something or ask for something, they've said no, they stand out. And they are the non-team player, and they are not being collaborative, and they're just not being nice, because all of us are expected to have a default setting of yes, bring it on. Give me whatever needs to be done, because I've arrived and I'm at work, and so anything that qualifies as work, I'm supposed to do. So I think the first thing is to give yourself permission to assess. So when someone comes to you with something, know that you are not default yes or default no, right? You have a choice and you can exercise that choice. So, take 30 seconds if required, ask a couple of simple questions to assess what exactly are they asking of me. This is not even assessing whether you're going to say yes or no, but just, do I have clarity on the ask? Is it a one-time, hey, it's Friday afternoon, I want to leave early to, pick up my kid. Can you do this for me? Versus, hey, from now on, can you do this for me?
Yeah.
Right? So just give yourself a little time to assess what is being asked of me, and then remind yourself, hey, I have a choice now. It's either a yes, because I genuinely want to do this, I'm happy to do this, I've been waiting to do this, or it's a no, because this doesn't fall anywhere in the kind of ambit of what I want to be doing.
Yeah. In fact, that actually sparked a little bit of a sideways thought in my mind about how a lot of communication we do today is asynchronous, right? So we are not always picking up a call and talking to each other. We're not always facing the other person. So, and it happened with me today when one of the people that they're working with me had mentioned to me that they're off on a day off today. And my bad that I messaged them about something in the morning. It wasn't asking them for something. It was just me passing on the information because I would forget tomorrow. Right. But I know for a fact that it caused in the other person a need to almost respond immediately on a day off, and that's the interesting bit about the communication today, that sometimes you see it and you just want to finish it. And that in itself is a way of saying yes without really meaning to.
Correct. No, very true. So I think, simply once we made that decision in our mind and we've said that, I think simply once we've arrived at a conclusion in our mind, and like you pointed out, we have the advantage of not being synchronous, not being face to face, that I have to give an immediate answer. And that's really useful, right? And so we should make use of that. Then be straightforward. Then don't beat around the bush and don't type out 4-5 sentences of how you'd actually love to, and this is your pride and joy and great passion in life and all that. But, right, I think just call it out and say, hey, thanks for asking. This is what it looks like, it entails, but my plate is full right now. Or I can do this after 2 months, right?
Yeah.
Actually, that's something I've learned very recently for myself, that I can ask to do the same thing later. Sometimes that's okay too. Like it works for the other person too.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying no to this because I don't want to do it. I actually want to do it, but I don't have the bandwidth now. Can we do this after July? Or, can we do this after 3 weeks? And I've been surprised that many times they've said okay.
Yeah. I think the can we do this bit is so interesting, because I was actually going to ask you, how do you avoid the loops of no, right? So the moment I say I'm not able to do this right now, the immediate next question is, okay, but can you do 50% of it? Or can you do 30% of it? Or can you do this much by next week and then we'll figure the rest out? But I think just saying, also calling it out upfront in terms of what is possible seems like a solution to that.
Yeah. So I think, very true. Give a reason so that, because if it's bandwidth, then you can't do the 50% in the sense that you're saying I can't take on more work, right?
Yeah.
So give a clear reason that, hey, this is not working for me now, because at workplace you can say, hey, I don't want to commit to something that's every Friday afternoon because I too may want to step out, or I do have other plans, or I do have other commitments myself, or hey, this is not my cup of tea and I don't think I'll enjoy it and it'll come right back at you. Or, hey, my plate is full. So have a reason and share it in a polite and simple and articulate manner, and expect that it won't always be received well.
Yeah. I think that's the pain we all try to avoid.
Yeah. You can't, many times you can't say no and expect to please the other person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You are saying no to something that they are requesting, and you would have a sense of how important or critical it is for them. So if you're saying no, then don't expect praise and smiles for that, right? Expect that.
Oh, good for you. You made the right choice for your own mental health. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
Not at all, right? So expect maybe silence in terms of a response online for some time, or expect that there's a bit of a cold shoulder, or expect that there is some kind of, hey, I thought you'd do this for me, and some kind of guilt tripping maybe. Expect all that so that you now then are not kind of capitulating and saying, oh no, now I'm feeling guilty and I should now drop everything I have and help this person because I've hurt them. So if you're going to say no, then most likely you're not going to please the person requesting. So really calibrate for that in your interaction.
Let that not be the expectation at all. I actually have one last question for you, and then we'll kind of divulge a little bit. I actually have one last question for you, and this is about the people and the cakes and the coffees and the driving people around, and even something slightly more significant, right? Like, I mean, me traveling 4 years ago versus me traveling today for work are two very different things. God knows what strain I might bring home depending on where I go, right? So there are all these things that now have to be taken into consideration. But the fact is that the system is used to me being the person cutting the cake, used to me being the person doing the coffee runs, right? So in a way, me upending that is also going to, because somebody else has to take on my role, right? Or at least like the system has to fix itself in order for me to get out of it. So in those circumstances, first of all, who would be the right person to have a conversation with even? And secondly, is this about a conversation, or is it just that the next time something comes up, I don't put my hand up? Is it more action or is it more talk?
Now that's interesting, because that is the tough one, where you are trying to extricate yourself from a commitment that you have seen through for a long time, right? And that's not going to be easy, honestly. I don't think that's equal to the saying no, right? That's really having a conversation with the people involved, trying to explain that this is not working for me, or this is how this is making me feel now, right? I actually enjoy stepping up and cutting the cake and distributing the samosas, and all that was fun for me 5 years back, but I've grown, I've evolved, and this is not the person I want to be at work.
So
thinking through a little bit who to have that conversation with, because then they can be your kind of a sidekick in trying to make a change with the larger system.
Yeah.
Because that's I think kind of vastly different from saying just a simple no. You've made a pattern of it and you've made a habit of it.
Yeah. And to now extricate also.
Now when you say, hey, I don't want to cut the cake, there'll even be those who are thinking, did she never want to cut it? Like, was she so unhappy cutting it all these years? Like,
yeah.
It's become a part of you.
Sometimes it's really about the first step. Yeah.
Another thing about saying no is also what I find, what I used to do a lot, and it's taken a lot of effort to cut back on, is I would say no in some polite manner, but then offer to do part of it or offer to do something and kind of still have one foot in. Through, I guess, the hard way, in a way, I've learned that actually is worse than just being all in. Because
you, anyway, halfway in is all in. We know this to be true. So there's no such thing as halfway there, right? It's just, we feel worse and we end up doing everything as well.
Yeah. So then now you're not mentally committed to it. You don't want to be there, but you still stuck one foot in. And then there's work creep on that. And then you're just feeling miserable. And now you can't extract yourself. So I think many situations just say, hey, I don't think I want to be a part of this, or this doesn't interest me. I'll find something else to do. But don't offer little bit and then get yourself stuck there. I can't help you plan the party, or I can't help you organize the party, but shall I just, invite 10 people for you? So when that fluid situation keeps changing, you're part of that and you need to be involved. So you will get called for those group meetings and you will be in that WhatsApp group that just got created.
Yeah.
And so
So what I'm hearing is, first of all, to get, I think, really clear on what am I saying no to, or rather what values of mine are being challenged because of this ask, and therefore I'm saying no to something. And then just to stay the hell out of it and not really try and find inroads to be a nice person, because you did say in between, the moment you say no, people are going to be unhappy. But as long as you know that you're doing it for a completely different reason, then I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I think that eases the pain for both sides or all sides a lot more.
Yeah, makes sense.
So Hasita, I have some articles to be written very quickly this week. Write those for me, please. Pretty please.
I'll send you a WhatsApp message in some time.
Dang it, you didn't say yes.
So your job is done. You did a good job.
Yes. My job is done. And I think we're done here. So we'll catch you next time, folks.
See you.
Hey Small Talkers, thank you for listening till the very end. We love bringing these episodes to you and we hope you enjoy them too. Please do drop in your comments, likes, shares, reviews, whatever you can do on the platform that you're on to help us reach a larger and larger audience, and that would really make our day. You can find out more about today's guest or today's episode in the show notes. All the details and how you can find us on social media is right there. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.